Good morning. Welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 300. That's 10. Imagine me doing that another 30 times. I'm not going to, but you can imagine it. 300. Yay, we've made it to 300. I did the math. I started recording this podcast. Well, not this particular episode, although it feels like it. I started recording 90% Knitting at the end of January 2011. So that's approximately 95 months I have been doing this podcast. So 300 divided by 95 equals about 3.16 podcasts per month. That's not too shabby. I know sometimes it was more in one month and less in another month, but you know what? That average is pretty decent. It's fairly regular. You know, it's like the podcast has been eating its bran. How you doing? I can't promise it's going to get any better because I've got a lot to talk about and it's been a few weeks. And I'm super warm. I should have waited until after I was all set up to put this on. By the way, I'm trying to be Christmassy because we're going to consider this my Christmas episode. So red shirt whose shoulders don't sit right and it drives me crazy. It looks like it's been hanging on a hanger, but it hasn't been. This is the way it always fits. And this shawl, this is a shawl that I knit years ago. If you've been watching Vlogmas, you saw me wear this the other night. This is my traveling woman shawl in some green yarn that I don't remember. It's on the project page for it, but it looks nice with red and it's very Christmassy. So there you go. And I even put lipstick on for you today because I'm being fancy again. All right, let me tell you what we're going to do today. I am set up just a little differently today, and I've got my computer right in front of me so I can hopefully see my show notes without having to turn my head all the time. And the sun's now going to come out. I have not seen sunshine in over 3 days. Today it's going to come out and come in right behind me and do weird light things. Sorry. Can't control that. Anyway, today we have a lot of knitting. What else? I've got a little bit of on deck stuff that's going to be coming up. I'm going to talk about the cow that will be wrapping up at the end of this month. I've got a couple new things to show you. Some coming up, although it's actually more winding down than coming up, but it is what it is. A little bit of 10% and some important shop news. I know I always say it's important because it's my shop and it always seems important, but I do have some new things that are going to be releasing still in the remainder of this month, even though I'm not doing any regular updates. So if you're interested in seeing what those things are going to be, you might want to stick around till the end or fast forward to the end, whichever you would like to do. There's always the timestamp menu. Now, the other thing that I did not have on that list, and I'll explain why, is the 300th episode drawing and the Q&A that is going to go along with it. Since this is the 300th episode, when I recorded last time, I started a thread in the podcast, in the Fibernymph Dye Works group, which is where all the 90% knitting stuff is now housed on Ravelry, and I said that I was going to do a drawing for one of 3 prizes. Well, no, I'm going to do a drawing for all 3 prizes. If you win, you're going to win one of the 3. And I put in a prompt, and the prompt was pretty general. It was, tell me something that you've enjoyed about the podcast, tell me a funny memory or your favorite memory, or ask me a question. Well, lots and lots of you asked questions, so much to the point where there's no way I could do all the question and answer stuff in this episode and do the regular episode. It would be hours long, or at least a couple of hours long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it into part A and part B. Episode 300 part A, which will be all the regular stuff. And then I will probably need to plug my phone in and recharge it. And I will do episode 300 part B, which will be the 300th episode drawing Q&A. So I will announce the winners of the 300th episode drawing at the end of the Q&A episode. How many times can I say episode? Shall we drink every time I say episode? No, let's not. It's only 10 in the morning. We should not. One other thing I have to tell you. If you have sent me a message through Ravelry in the last, I'm going to say couple of weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, I'm super behind. To be honest, I am very, very behind on my Ravelry messages. I know they're there. I know some of you have been messaging about wanting to cash in your conversion rewards points for that. I know they're there and I will honestly get to them. The problem is that I can't do those quick because I have to go in, I have to verify your points in the group, and then I have to get back to you. That takes some time, and I don't want to rush it because I don't want to screw anything up. I screw enough things up when I'm not rushing, so I really don't want to do those super fast. My goal, though, is to catch up on all of my Ravelry messages this week before my mom gets here on Friday. So by Thursday night, you should hear from me. If, however, you're worried that you've sent me a message and I haven't replied and maybe I didn't get it, feel free to send another one. It won't aggravate me or anything if you do that. You're welcome to do that. Just know that you still may not hear from me for a couple more days. I can guarantee you're probably not going to hear from me today because today is going to be all recording and processing of this episode, the Part B episode, and then eventually I have my Vlogmas episode for today. So it's pretty much going to be an all technology day for me. All right, but I just wanted to let you know, I am not ignoring you. I am going to get back to you. You will definitely get your conversion rewards, point rewards, I promise. All right, now we're going to get on to the knitting. I have got finished objects. My gift knitting has gone so well. And the first big exciting thing I'm going to show you, the Afghan. My son's Afghan is finished. I can't hold it up because it's way huge, but I will insert a picture here of it laid out on our queen size bed. The only thing that's not finished with it is I still don't have all of the ends woven in. I sat and I did some of them the other day, and I'm probably going to finish doing them when I'm processing the podcasts later today. That will be my task. So it's finished. I quit before I ran out of yarn, to be quite honest, because I was just done. I couldn't do it anymore. It was done. It is taller than I am at this point, although when I laid it out on the bed, it was measuring shorter, but I think that's because I pulled it wide. But it's at least 54, 56 inches wide, and it's at least 64, 65. I'm going to say it's probably closer to like 66 inches long. It's longer than it is wide. That was all I wanted. It's fine. I can't wait to have it done. I hope he likes it. I think he will. But yeah, it has to get in the mail. If you're mailing anything in the continental United States that you want to get there for Christmas, you need to have it in the mail by December 20th, according to the USPS. I checked the website this morning. My goal is to hopefully have this stuff in the mail no later than Wednesday, because I still have to mail this, like all the stuff to his house, and then all the stuff to my daughter as well. But the knitting on the Afghan is done. Took me a year and a half, but it is complete. And I didn't work on it that whole time either. So had I would have gotten it done like within a couple months. But it's done, finished. So happy. Moving on. And you know what? It was the yarn from Pat Catan's. I don't remember what it was called. It's all on my project page. I've been talking about this for way too long, but it was a nice bulky yarn. It's very soft. It's all acrylic. You can throw it in the washer. If his dogs eat it, I won't feel too heartbroken. So moving on now. I also finished the cabled dad hat that I was working on for my daughter's boyfriend. Despite the fact that I kept messing it up, it's not a difficult pattern, but I did mess it up a good bit and had to tink back several times. But it's finished. She had said he likes slouchier hats, so I made the brim long. He can wear it slouchy like that. I would try it on, but I don't want to. I don't want to. I would, but I don't want to. No, I'm so hot right now. I just feel like I would be sweating in this hat. Anyway. So, you know, if you don't roll the brim up, it's definitely got a little bit of slouch. If you do roll the brim up, then it would be a tighter fitting beanie. But anyway, it's finished and I really love it. I love that patterning. You know, you've got this cable effect here from 2 sets of twisted stitches, and then you've got seed stitch in the middle here. The decreases were super clever. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but I love how it comes together on the top. I could totally see me making another one of these for myself because I really, really like this pattern. The yarn I used is my Mountain Tweed DK in the Lichen colorway, and it was delightful to knit with. I really enjoyed it. And I think that's about all I can tell you about it. I'm glad to have it done. I hope he likes it because honestly, I don't really know him well. I knit that at my daughter's request, and she had all the input on color and pattern type and stuff like that. So that is another gift finished. And then another gift finished, which is actually, this one was finished before that one, is the Butterbeer beanie. This pattern, oh, the Cable Dad hat pattern is by Alexis Winslow. Again, all the details for these projects are on my project pages on Ravelry. So the Butterbeer beanie is by Christy Houghton. She's from Yarn Cafe Creations. And this was just such a fun, pretty, lacy beanie. This one's for my daughter. And I knit this out of my Beguiled DK weight base. So that's got some stellina in it. I don't know what else to say about it. It was super fun. I think I messed something up towards the top, but it was so close up in here that you really can't see. It's not noticeable. I did not put a pom-pom on this because she's not too much of a pom-pom girl, although I think it would look super cute with a pom-pom, but whatevs. So yeah, another finished gift. So all these gifts are now ready to go in the mail. You know, it's so not, I mean, I wasn't really feeling super stressed about these gifts, but I definitely wanted to get them done. And they were all really pretty enjoyable to work on. The blanket got old, can't lie about that. But the hats I really did enjoy, even though they did involve a little bit of tinking here and there. So you would think, okay, is all your gift knitting done now, Lisa? Well, no. I did go ahead and start a hat for my husband, which, if you remember, let's see, I've got stuff all around me, so I have to reach. If you remember, the last time I recorded, I said I was going to do the lodgepole hat, which is by Sarah Gressbach. I really liked the tree motif. I thought it was cute. I thought he would enjoy it, but there were a lot of modifications that I was going to make to it. I did talk about this sort of at length in one of my Vlogmas videos, but I'll recap here. He doesn't like slouchy hats, so I was going to have to make it more fitted. He likes his brim to be long enough to double over, so I was going to have to double that. There was something else. Oh, the ribbing. This was a different ribbing. I wanted to do 2x2 ribbing. Oh, this was 3x1. I wanted to do 2x2 because when you turn it up, 2x2 looks same pretty much on either side. The knits and the purl columns are switched, but it still looks like 2x2 ribbing, whereas 3x1 turns into 1x3 whenever you roll it up. And what else? Oh, then the last thing that I started thinking about was my color choices, because I originally thought I would do red and brown. And so I spent a day, well, not a day, but I spent some time one day pairing up different colors of yarn, because again, I wanted to use my Mountain Tweed DK. And I ended up not dyeing specifically for this hat because I had enough already dyed in the shop. But I was putting different colors together, trying to find a set that would have enough contrast. And I was doing that by taking pictures of the pairs of yarn and then turning them to black and white. That's a really good way to tell if you're going to get decent contrast. When you convert to black and white, if you don't see much of a difference, you're not going to probably see much of a difference when you put them together in color work. And the greater difference you see in black and white, the better contrast you'll have. So I was doing that, and I think my original choice was going to be brown and green. And that just didn't have very much contrast. So I played around, and I finally decided I was going to do green and gold, because what I had in mind was a picture we took when we were on vacation, when we were coming back down from Pikes Peak. The aspens were beautiful. They were this lovely golden color, and there was all these pine trees. And so I loved that contrast, the green of the pine trees and the gold of the aspens. And that was what I really wanted to represent in this hat. So those were the colors I chose, and I will show you in a minute. But then that left me with the issue of these are not aspens. These are pine trees. And I didn't want to do pine trees. I wanted to do aspens. So I thought about it for a while, and in the end, I pretty much just scrapped this whole pattern. I think the only thing I did the same as in this pattern is my cast on number. That was it. And it's actually a pretty normal cast on number for a DK weight hat for me to do. But I made my own chart. So here's my chart, which I have some mess ups and I've made some additions, and I made the tree taller after I did the chart. Then I decided to add like fallen leaves down here, little, you know, color work down there, just so I wasn't having to carry floats all this way in all those rows. And I love it. I love how it's turning out. So let me show you what I have so far. I would say I'm about halfway done. I'm up to row 12 of 21. So, but that's how it's looking. I love the contrast. I think it's perfect. And yeah, I'm super happy with it. I'm glad I decided to do this rather than go with the other hat. All of these trees obviously will be standing upright because they are a different shape than those pine trees were. I'm just trying to turn up the brim here so you can get an idea of what it'll look like turned up. This is hard to do while it's still on the needles, and I don't want to drop stitches. But anyway, it'll look sort of like that when he has it turned up. I just think it'll be really cute. I also decided to do, you know, a bit of contrast around the brim, and that was the other thing. Since it's meant for him to turn up, I had to do my contrast. Once I switched from the green to the gold, I did an entire row of pearl, or an entire round of purling, so that those funky bumps that you get when you change colors in ribbing would show up on the part that will be turned up and be on the inside. So you won't see it. It'll look nice and clean on the outside. So that is coming along. I didn't get to work on it at all over the weekend because my husband was home, but I'm anxious to get back to it. It's moving really fast too, so loving it. Then as far as gift knitting, I thought, okay, I'm cool. That's the last gift. But then no, I started thinking about the fact that on Christmas morning, my son's going to be here. He's getting knit socks. My husband is getting the hat. My mom is getting socks. And that will leave my mother's new husband, Roy, not getting anything knit. Matter of fact, we got them a gift card for a restaurant that they like to go to. So as a couple, they're getting that, and then my mom's getting socks, and Roy wouldn't have anything to open, and I would feel super bad. So I decided he needed a hat too. And he's a big Steelers fan, so I decided I would knit him up a Steelers hat. And I found a pattern on Ravelry called the Go Steelers hat. Quite appropriate. Let me see if I can find, oh, you know what? I never actually downloaded it. I never printed it out because it was super easy. I'll try to pop a picture of it. Actually, I don't need to pop a picture of it in here because I've already knit most of what you're going to see. This is what it looks like. It's just the three Steelers colors, gold and a little bit of white, and then the rest of this hat up through the crown decreases, and the top will be soft black. These are my yarns, my cozy base, worsted weight base. So it basically, the striping of the hat replicates the striping on the Steeler jersey sleeves. And so it was very easy. And as I was Vlogmas videoing last night, I was just sitting there because I whipped a bunch of this out last night. I thought, I feel like I'm cheating because this hat is so easy. I did not bother to do a brim that will roll up, only because, one, this is quicker. Two, he lives in Florida, and so even though they do travel to colder climates occasionally, like to visit family and everything, he's not going to get a ton of wear out of this. So I'm hoping he'll be okay with just a single layer brim. He'll have a hat to open. Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's a very nice, it's very representative of the Steelers colors. And it's a simple pattern. It's pretty much just a simple stockinette hat, other than the ribbing. It's just the color changes make the design, and that's pretty cool. So that is that hat. And who's it by? Do I have that written down here? Becca Inman is the designer of that hat. So that's turning out to be a really nice quick gift knit, and I think he'll like it. And he's new enough to the family that even if he doesn't like it, he won't say anything. He'll like it. Okay, so that is all of my gift knitting. That's it. No more gift knitting. Although I may knit like a catnip mouse or something to send to my daughter and her boyfriend for their cat, because they have cats. They have a cat. I may get there, I may not. Who knows? What else? Oh, as far as other holiday knitting, I have been doing my Advent scarf. If you remember, I mentioned I wanted to take part in the Advent knit-along that Carol from A Stitch in Time podcast is hosting through December, basically. And so I chose to do Favorite Scarf Ever by Lisa Bruce. I do not have that pattern printed out either. I'll link it in the show notes though, but I can show you what it is. I don't remember if I talked about, I think I talked about it, but I don't remember. It's a chevron scarf, essentially. And so what I'm doing is I'm opening a mini every day. I'm using the set of minis that I had pulled out to do. I was going to originally do a cowl with it, and then I didn't do that. And then I was going to do a brioche project, and I started that, but then I was like, okay, yeah, that's brioche, and I quit because I didn't want to finish it. So I'm still using that same set of minis, and I had 26 minis that go from gold, this golden yellow color, through green, into blues. Oh, I thought I was losing a stitch, but I'm not. Okay. So I started this on December 1st, and I'm opening a mini a day. And basically what my goal was to do at least like 2 inches a day. Well, quickly I realized I was going to be getting way more than 2 inches a day because this is really addictive. I love knitting chevrons. I don't know if you can see. I mean, you get those nice points. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm knitting a bit of the first color, and then once I have the second color, like the next day's color, I am blending it in, like doing a fade. And I'm doing like 3 repeats of the fade, and then just dropping the first color, going to the second color, and so on throughout the days. And some of them you can see a little bit better than others. Some of them were much closer, although it's funny, you can see them really well on camera compared to how I can see them just looking at them sometimes. So the way this scarf is worked is you work it in halves. So this is the full first half. So this is my first 13 minis. I know 26 is a weird number, but that's what I had, and I'm just going to go with it because I like them all. So this is where my 13th mini stopped. So then you sit the first half aside and you start the second half. And then eventually what you do is you Kitchener them in the middle. And that allows you to end up with those nice chevron points on both ends. Because if you just knit and bound off, you wouldn't have the points on the other end. It just sort of turns out flat. It's just the nature of chevrons. But anyway, so this is starting at day 14. So I got to start on the blues from the far end. So I opened day 26, and now I'm working backwards number-wise. So there was 26, 25, 24, 34, yeah, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yes, I did the 4th one today. I didn't quite finish it. I'm not done with my fades on these 2. I'll probably also work on that while I'm processing podcast stuff today. But I'm just having so much fun with this. This is turning out to be such an enjoyable project. So that's what I'm doing for my Advent knit. I will say I've been a total fail with all my other Advent projects I thought I was going to do. I have not done any spinning at all with my Advent fiber minis. I have them all out there in a basket. Eventually I will spin them because I really want to. I enjoyed that last year, but it's not going to happen during the holidays this year, I don't think. And I have been opening my other yarn minis that I had originally put together to put in my Granny Stripes blanket. I'm looking out there on the porch room couch because that's where it's sitting. And I have worked on that some, but not every day. And at this point, I'm probably like 7 or 8 days behind on adding minis to that. But it's been fun to work on every now and then when I have time. So again, I'm not stressing out about it. This Advent scarf, this was really the one that I wanted to do so that I could take part in Carol's Knit Along. Okay, let's see, what else? I do have 2 other things that I have been working on. I can't remember. I think I showed this to you when I started it. Well, I think I'd already started. Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm losing track of things just because I've been doing so much recording for my Vlogmas recordings, and I can't remember what I've told on there versus what I told on the last time I did a regular podcast. But I've got a shorty sock. And this is a new Sarah Jordan design. This is called the Trapezoid shorty sock pattern, well, it's called trapezoid, but it's a shorty sock pattern. She designed this using my Traveler base, which is my sport weight base. And I wanted to knit up a pair. So I did this first sock. This is the Aqua Shock Blue and Soft Black. When I do my second sock, I'm going to switch the colors. So my second one's going to be Soft Black with the detailing in the Aqua Shock Blue. I think that'll be super fun. Anyway, we released this. Well, she released the pattern, and then at the same time, I released yarn and pattern kits in the shop for one of the yays of Christmas, my 12 yays of Christmas. They're still going on. I'll talk about that later on in shop news. But this was one of the releases for that. They're usually, my yarn and pattern kits are always discounted a little bit, but they had a special discount for those 2 days of the yay days. So anyway, there's still some kits left in the shop if you're interested, or at least just check out her pattern on Ravelry. Again, it's called Trapezoid, and I'll put that in the show notes. Super fun. It's just a really fun little shorty sock. I love these little details she put on here. She has this little, I don't know, I keep calling it a nubbin, this little garter stitch bit that's up here in it. She said like her running socks keep her from getting blisters when you have that. Then you've got a little bit of ribbing here, and then you get down into the heel, and then the heel turn you do in your contrasting color, which I think is super cute. I had actually thought about maybe doing the tip of the toe also in that, but I didn't. I just decided to follow the pattern for once. I never follow the pattern, but I did this time. Anyway, I just think it's a super cute pattern. So that's a new pattern by Sarah Jordan. I've only got the first sock done. I haven't done the second one yet, but hopefully I will, because, sport weight socks go fast. Sport weight shorty socks really should go fast, even if they do have some color work. And it's really easy color work. There's no big floats or anything in them. So if you're a beginning color work knitter, that would be a good project for you. So there was that, and then I also cast on, I have to find it, it's underneath stuff here, another of Sarah's patterns, which, oh, am I in the middle of it? No, I'm not in, oh gosh, yes I am. How did I do that? Okay. Here, I'm gonna tink back. No, I can't tink back, because this is, oh, I see what I did. All right. This is gonna be hard to show you guys because I'm not through with the repeat, and this involves short rows, and I'm kind of in the middle of a short row section. That's why it's weird. All right, so this is what it looks like. This is a pattern. I don't know if she wants me to talk about the name of it yet or not, since it's not released yet. I'm not going to say the name just because I'm not sure if she wants me to or not. But anyway, I know she's shown her finished one on her social media, so I can at least show it to you. So this involves using 2 sets of minis, so 6 skeins in each. One set is a semi-solid, and the other one is a corresponding speckle. And these are my yarns again, which is lovely. So this is my first section. Now Sarah's, if you see hers, I did 2 different color combinations. There was one that was sort of a warm autumnal collection of colors. That's the one she used for her shawl. I'm doing the more wintry blue purpley one, which is almost more of a gradient. And I also changed up what I'm doing, my main color versus my contrast. She did the speckled as her main color and the semi-solids as her contrast. I switched that around. So ours will look fairly different, I think, but it's still such a cool pattern. I love doing these short rows, even though they're getting quite long already, and I'm not even out of the first section. It's just addictive. I just want to keep going and going and going. And yeah, and it's got this really nice open edge detail on it, which is done differently than I've ever done on a shawl before. Although I will say down here, I totally screwed it up because I did not read the directions correctly. So I just started doing it here. I figure it's not a big deal. Anyway, so yeah, that's underway. Obviously, I've not been putting super amount of time into this because I've had other things I have to get done, but I really want to be working on this because it's a lot of fun. So you'll be hearing more about that coming up this week because that will be getting released later this week. She will be releasing the pattern on the 20th, and I will be releasing yarn and pattern kits again for it in the shop for one of the yays of Christmas. Now, I think it's the 10th, the 10th yay of Christmas on the 20th, I'm pretty sure. So again, I'll talk more about that in the show section. All right, I think that is all the projects that I am working on. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of knitting. Spinning, again, none. I have done none this month. I do have some on deck projects though. I do not this year plan to do a Christmas Eve cast on. I have done that the last few years. I did not finish my Christmas Eve cast on from last year, so maybe I'll pick that up and work on it. Maybe I'll just work on something else that I've got going. I don't know. But I'm not planning to cast on a new set of socks this year, I don't think. That could always change, but at this moment, I'm not planning to. The other thing that I am planning to cast on soon, and that will be actually on Friday, which is the winter solstice, is I'm going to participate in the Hedge Witch knit along. It's a shawl that Sarah from Fibertrek and Nicole from the Gentle Knitter podcast are co-hosting. And let me see, I think I have, do I have it printed out? I thought I had it printed out. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the Hedge Witch shawl. It's a really big worsted weight, squishy shawl. It's got some texturing in it. Let me see if I can find another picture. You know, when I first heard them talking about it, I thought, oh, another big shawl. But then I saw the shawl and I just thought, oh, that would be awesome. Look how big that is. I love really big, like DK worsted weight shawls, the heavier weight yarns. I love those. I have a few that I've made over the years, and I wear them a lot. I use them a lot in the wintertime. Well, anyway, I knew they were going to be co-hosting this. I think Nicole talked about it. Sarah may have too, but anyway, in Sarah's last podcast, she was talking about it more, and I'm like, I really want to do this. And I'm going to just read you the first little bit about the pattern. From the pattern, it says, Hedge Witch is a tribute to the ancestors and the modern wise women and men who venture past borders and into the wilds and beyond, where all manner of beasts and beings dwell. I think that just sounds so cool. I'm like, yes, I would like to go along with you. Thank you. Thank you. I will be there. So the Hedge Witch knit along. I had to look this up, sorry, because I was worried suddenly that I had the wrong dates. They are doing this from the full moon in December through the full moon in January, which I know those moons have specific names and I don't remember what they are. Sorry. The pattern, by the way, is by Nat Raidwolf? Raidwolf. I don't know, probably butchered that. But anyway, it's just meant to be a very casual, comfortable knit along. You don't have to finish the shawl within that period. It's just meant to like be something warm and cozy that you can work on and, you know, kind of cozy in for winter, if that makes sense. You know, like that time of, you know, when the days are short and it's cold and you just need self-care and self-comfort. I'm all about that at this time of year. So I'm on board. I'm going to do this. The yarn I'm going to use, I don't have yet because I need to dye it, but I am going to be using my new non-superwash DK weight base, which I will be introducing in the shop in January, by the way, officially. I'm calling it my Ridge Top line. So there's the Ridge Top fingering and Ridge Top DK. Ridge Top DK is what I'll be using. I'm going to dye up a very rich earthy red and I think probably like a nice brown, like a deep earthy kind of brown. Those are my plans for right now for my two colors. So I hope to get those dyed up hopefully tomorrow. But it runs from December 22nd to January 22nd. Those are the dates. I don't actually know if those correspond with the moons. I think they do. I think I remember hearing that, but I could totally be wrong on that. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that. That's my one kind of big, you know, on deck project that I definitely want to participate in. So let's move on to new things. I probably have more new things than what I have sitting here, but this is what's here. So this is what I'm going to show you. I purchased some yarn from Legacy Fiber Arts. I saw this yarn in one of Chelsea's stories on Instagram, and I just fell in love with it. This is their Steel Toes base, and it is the Tiny Dancer colorway, and it's a sock set, so it comes with the mini that corresponds. I don't know what's with me and pinks lately, because I'm not usually super into these light pale pinks, but I love this color. It is just beautiful, and it's got this color here just really gets me. It's like a pale sandy mauvey pink. It's a pinkish I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a pinkish sandy color. I don't know. It's definitely got some pink in it. Anyway, I got this. I had to have it. It was just adorable. I will probably knit socks or a scarf or something out of it at some point, but I just loved it. So that is mine. Other thing I got that is just so much fun, and I can't wait to start using these, is a whole bunch of faux fur pom-poms. I kind of went on a binge one day on Etsy. Someone on Instagram mentioned this maker, and I went and checked out her shop, and I'm like, oh, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. Aren't they great? They're so nice. I've bought faux fur pom-poms before that I didn't really care for because they were very heavy. These are not heavy. They're nice and light, and I think they would look great. Like even here, like check it out. Like that, wouldn't that look super cute on there? But my daughter doesn't want a pom-pom. Anyhow, so that's one of them. I'm just going to show them to you. Oh, well, look, this one would even match this hat. Oh my gosh. I can't believe she doesn't like pom-poms. That would be so cute. And then there's a green one. Oh, here, we're going to just play. I'm going to just hold all of these up. That would actually work. And there's this one. Now, this one really doesn't. This has got a little too much orangey red in it, but it's a cute pom-pom. Then there's this one that looks like a skunk or something. I don't know. I don't like that one with that either. I don't know why I'm holding them up. Oh, this is orange. Nope. But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't not work, but I wouldn't put it on there. What else? Oh, purple. Purple might work. Yeah, that could work. I like that pink one better, though. And then there's a black one. I have to shake them out so that, oh, that looks nice. Are there any more? Oh, yeah. These are both sort of natural, furry kind of colors. This one looks like a sea urchin or something. I don't know what's going on there. And lastly, this one. Oh, that one would look nice. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Hat, for modeling all those. But yeah, just lovely. The maker for these was Threadhead Knits on Etsy. Again, I will link that in the show notes. So I have a lot of pom-poms to put on hats, which means I need to knit a lot of hats to put pom-poms on. That's okay. I'll be happy to do that because I love a good pom-pom. Alrighty, coming up. Basically, as I said, coming up is more of a winding down at this point. Coming up, I'll be continuing to record my Vlogmas episodes. I've really been enjoying doing those. It's been a lot of work. I can't say it hasn't been, but it's been fun. And I've been getting a lot of feedback on them. People comment on them. And obviously, they're much shorter than a regular podcast episode. I've been trying to keep them short, although some have gone closer to like 15, 20 minutes. But, you know, I'm doing the best I can. But there's been some days where I just haven't had a whole lot to record at all, so they're very short. But they've been fun to do. I feel like in comparison to some other people's Vlogmas videos, mine aren't super exciting because I don't lead a super exciting life. I'm pretty much here at my house most days, not really going out and doing super holiday-ish stuff like some people do. I'm sharing with you what I can, and I hope you're enjoying it if you're watching. I am going to record one more episode before the end of the year. I think maybe I already said that. Maybe I just said it in my head. I don't remember. Mostly, though, I got to just say, coming up, I'm looking forward to some quiet downtime over the holidays, like for the rest of the year and over the holidays. As I said, my mom and her husband will be here on Friday. They're staying for a week. I don't know that they've ever been here for a week. Like, I don't know that my mom has even ever come up here for a whole week. And I know she's not stayed with me for that long. So that's going to be fun. I don't know what we're going to do because, again, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. There's like not a lot of stuff to do. I don't know if she's going to be content to just be sitting around and hanging out, and she doesn't knit, darn it. But I don't know. I'm sure we'll find things to do, and I'm sure we'll like go out to dinner and stuff. Bill's also going to be off. He takes a week's vacation every year between Christmas and New Year's. So basically, like this Friday will be his last day of work, and then he's off for the rest of the year. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm looking forward to a lot of downtime. I'm trying to finish up as much work as I can before my mom gets here on Friday. So that I don't have to do a lot while she's here, or a minimal amount of work. I'll have to do some stuff, obviously, but I don't want to be spending every day, all day working while my mom's here because I want to hang out with her. So that's about it. And that kind of brings me into 10%. Basically, we will be celebrating the winter solstice this Friday. And by celebrate that, I mean, I make a really nice dinner every year for the winter solstice. I decorate my table nicely. It's almost like that's my big meal. Like Christmas isn't so much a big deal for me to do a nice meal, but I love celebrating the winter solstice. And it's just that whole idea of it being that time where everything draws in and everything draws to a close. And it feels like, okay, cats just trolloped up the steps. I don't know if you could hear that. It just feels like I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just a time that I really enjoy because of the quiet and the dark and the sense that things are now going to start to renew. So anyway, I love celebrating winter solstice just from that aspect, really. So we'll have our dinner, and then on Christmas Day, obviously we'll celebrate Christmas. You know, my son's going to come up that day, and we'll just hang out and do presents. And I did buy ham, so I guess we'll have ham for dinner that night. And just kind of bringing the year to a close. That's what I'm looking forward to at this point. I am getting together with some girlfriends over the holidays too. We usually try to get together. And also between now and when my mom gets here, we need to finish cleaning. I need to finish cleaning. Bill and I have both been doing a lot of cleaning. He did all the floors up here yesterday. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad he does that job because I hate that job. I did all the dusting, and then he came through and he swept and mopped all of our floors because he's very particular about how the floors get done. So I'm happy to leave that to him. But I have a lot of stuff I need to just organize. I've emptied tons of boxes recently, though. It's coming so close to being finished. But our office still has a lot of stuff, and I need places to put things that are in the room where my mom and Roy will be staying. So that stuff has to go into the office, so that means the stuff in the office needs to be curtailed a little bit more. So that's also on the agenda for today. Yeah, otherwise, I guess that's it. Everything's decorated. I did do a little bit of a tour of our Christmas decorations in the podcast in one of the Vlogmas episodes. It was it wasn't yesterday's, I think it was the day before maybe. So check out maybe episode 14 or 15, I think is when I did it, if you want to see all our holiday decorations. That's about it. I have shop news, but I'm going to pause and gather things for that, and then I will come back with that. If you're not sticking around for that, though, I just want to wish you a lovely Christmas if you're going to be celebrating Christmas. Otherwise, please enjoy your holiday, your winter solstice, just some quiet time. I hope you get some fun, relaxing, nourishing, quiet time to yourself. Unless you thrive on activity, then I hope it's just all out outrageous for you. Anyway, I will be back in just a minute, and we will carry on with shop news. Okay, back for shop news. Basically, the big thing going on right now is the 12 Yays of Christmas, which is a new special offer in the shop once every 2 days. It started on December 20th, or no, on December 2nd, and it's running through December 24th. That will be when I'll post the last one. So I think we are up to the 7th Yay right now in the shop. Is that right? No, the 8th. The 8th Yay. You would think I would know, but I'm having trouble keeping numbers straight. So the 8th Yay of Christmas is in the shop right now, and that is 20% off any remaining Christmas and winter colorways that are still in stock. I'm not sure if this podcast will actually get up in time for you to know that while that's still going on, but just in case, now you can check that out if you want to. A couple of the past ones, though, that you might want to look at, because those things are still in the shop, is the trapezoid sets. Those are still in the shop. They're not discounted anymore with the 12 Yays of Christmas discount, but you can still get the kits if you're interested. So there's some of those in there. I did grab bags, 50% off grab bags. The last I checked, there's still 2 grab bags left, and I think they're the worsted weight ones. And they are still at 50% off in the shop. So if you're interested in that, check those out. The other thing, and this was so much fun, if you got one of my holiday countdown sets this year, you've already got one of these because it's what all of your minis came in. But we have Fibernymph Dye Works market tote bags. They have this nice strap on them. They're sling bags, so like cross body bags. I had so much fun ordering these, and I have some extras, so I put them in the shop. They were one of the specials for a couple of days of the 12 Yays of Christmas, but they're still in the shop, so if you're interested in one, you can get one. They're really big and roomy. They've got this nice gusseted bottom. Yeah, I can't open that at the moment. It's got a magnetic closure. There's an extra little pocket in there for, like notions or stuff. But here's your gusseted bottom. I have a picture up in the shop of it holds like 9 full skeins of yarn, and then there's still room on top. So it's a really nice roomy bag. It'd be good for like going to a fiber festival or taking to knit group or, taking any place really. I love these kind of bags. So I'm really excited to have these in the shop. So those were some of the past 12 Yays of Christmas. The next one, which will go up at midnight tonight, so that will be Tuesday and Wednesday, which will be the 9th Yay of Christmas, is going to be a selection of variegated skeins that I've paired up with semi-solid. So it'll be 2 skeins of yarn, and those are going to be sets discounted at 20% off. I'm giving you guys a sneak reveal as to what these are coming up, because I'm not advertising them ahead of time anywhere else. But I just wanted you guys to know since you watch the podcast. Perk. The 10th Yay of Christmas is going to be the new shawl release for Sarah's shawl that I showed you a little bit ago. Again, it's hard for me to just hold up just because it's in process in the middle of a short row, but this is the beginning of it. And again, it's going to include the pattern plus both sets of mini skeins that you need to do it, the semi-solids and the speckles. So that will be up, and those will be up at an introductory discount over their usual discount. The 11th Yay of Christmas, which will be 2 days after that, so that'll be on the 22nd at midnight, will be a free skein of yarn. Any purchase that you make between, the 22nd and the 23rd, those 2 days, you will receive a free 100-gram skein of yarn with your order. And then lastly, the 12th Yay of Christmas is going to be a new colorway release that I'm doing especially for the very last one because I thought it would be appropriate. I'm calling this skein of yarn Dyer's Favorites 2018. As I was dyeing recently, I thought, there's a couple colors I've used a lot this year because I just love them so much, and I've incorporated them into a lot of colorways. And then when I really thought about it, I sat down and kind of made a list. There were 7 different colors that I really relied on this year and used in so many different configurations, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to put those together all in one self-striping colorway? And so I did. So this is a 7-stripe colorway. Again, I'm calling it Dyer's Favorites 2018. I feel like maybe I said a different year a minute ago. So this has all 7 colors that will stripe in it. And then each one will come with a mini, a 20-gram mini that has speckles of all 7 colors in it. So this will be a set. I will have this available in limited quantities for that 12th Yay of Christmas on a few different bases. These will be in the shop again after that. I will be dyeing more, but for the 12th Yay of Christmas, it's going to be limited quantities. So, and they will be discounted as well. So you might want to check that out. If you need to know what the current Yay is, go to the website, fibernymphdyworks.com. It's the first banner that comes up. It always tells you what that Yay is. Usually I put the new banner up for the next Yay that's going to be starting at midnight that night before I go to bed. So usually by 9 o'clock it would be up there. But otherwise, I'm advertising them on Instagram and on Facebook, and I've been trying to let people know also through the newsletter, although the newsletter only goes out like once a week at most, so they aren't all in there all the time. But yeah, so those are some of the fun things I've been putting up in the shop throughout this first half of December. There will not be another regular shop update this year, just these things, and then I may end up doing something else towards the end of the year, like the very end. I usually have an end of the year special or sale. I just haven't decided what that might be or if it will be. But if there is something, I will again let you know. Social media is your best friend in this area to know about what's coming up. So again, Fibernymph Dye Works on Instagram, the Fibernymph Dye Works page on Facebook, the newsletter, the website itself, and I try to post wrap-up kind of stuff every once in a while in the Ravelry group as well. But that's probably the last place I end up posting things because it seems to also be the last place people look, I've found over the years. Anyway, I think that's all I have for you for this recording. I'm going to stop this. I need to go plug my phone in and let it recharge, and then I'm going to record the 300th episode drawings Q&A thread, and I'll be announcing the 300th episode drawing winners in that episode, part B as well. So until next time, which might be the next video, part B, or till the next podcast, whichever you're interested in, I'll see you later. Have a great holiday season.